What I'd like to do today in the time I have is give a little background on what we're doing at Concentra. And what's really interesting about this journey is we're a bank with a trust company. We've been in business for many times. We became a national bank about 3 years ago. We got a new management team in place. And we've been on a journey and a tear to improve what we do for our wholesale customers as well as our future retail customers. So if you think about our bank, we have the 12 billion in assets, and a lot of what we do through partners and third parties. And because if you did the math of our 350 people divided into our asset base of 12 billion, we'd be 2.5 times bigger on a per capita basis than Royal Bank. So we got this big ecosystem where we bring a whole bunch of data and partners and third parties together to deliver what we do. So that's the context I'll give you. Talk about 4 things today: enabling our business, enabling our platform, enabling our employees, enabling our customers. If you think about our bank, we have 3 core capabilities. We focus on innovation, partnering, and specialization. And so we started with Cinchy in 2019 with a hackathon. And now in 2021, we have over 1/3 of our people on that platform, using that platform on a daily basis. The astounding fact is that we have 1 billion rows and growing of high value data from all of our transaction processing systems. And we basically are working across using the Dataware platform to bring our data together and solving for a lot of problems. We have over 500 business entities and tables across many sources of data in that Cinchy Dataware platform. And we plan to launch a digital bank this fall. What this does for us from enabling our business is it decouples our data from our apps so that we actually can do more things. And it also takes some of the load off the IT people so we can have people self-serve themselves. And if you went to what we're putting in place for our digital platform, it is a piece of software from Intellect Design out of India. And that plus Cinchy allows us to do what we call composable architecture, to compose the client journeys and then measure those client journeys on an end-to-end basis. And so we're building an ecosystem focused on what we call client experience, employee experience, partner experience for specific customer segments. We're small enough we can't do everything for all people, so we are focused on some pretty focused or pretty targeted groups of customers, and we're trying to serve them very well with this new platform. So the way that platform works is we have, on one side we have demand, on the other side we have supply. And Concentra's in the middle, connecting that supply and demand, also providing our own products through other fintechs and services that we sign on to the platform. So in Cinchy's case, when there was the COVID crisis, we had to get government aid loans to our credit union constituents because we serve credit unions. And we basically, in 2 weeks, had that platform up and running with Cinchy to originate and record those loans to get funding. And now we have on that platform, we have over 500 million in assets and almost 80 credit unions subscribing to that service. And so we're doing that through a blend of agile teams. And we also have a partnership playbook by which we bring people on. And our partners allow us to scale and do things faster. And we're in the process of building what we call banking as a service, so that we can connect up. And so in Canada, we had this neobank, which is a new bank launched by the former principals of the Skip the Dishes group, and they are now launching a digital bank, and we are providing services to that group as part of our platform, to give you an example. When we enable our employees, we've been putting what we call operational management boards together. So we've got 18 of those. And we're bringing near real-time visualization of the business. So not everything is real-time, but most things are. And so that gives us daily insight, which could translate to daily action. You're not just acting for any old reason, but we are seeing things quicker and faster than we've ever seen them before, and taking action as appropriate. And the transparency we have also improves our business execution because we're able to react to market situations or opportunities in our portfolio as we see things changing. We take action, and we do meet every day in a stand-up as an executive team. And then every 2 weeks as part of the sprint, we actually report using these OM boards, operational management boards, on every line of business. And so we have pretty good transparency about what we're doing. And we're working on making our data even more customer-centric, so bringing customer-centric measures into focus. And that is also starting to change the dialogue within the business about where we make money, who we make it with, should we be going after different segments, et cetera. And so we are planning to launch a CX component of our platform soon, and it will have what we talked about earlier, the CX, EX, PX journeys, but we'll be able to measure and manage our end-to-end CX. We'll be able to measure and manage our indirect and employee experience, and we'll be able to manage end-to-end our partner experience. And we're going to do what we always do, continuously improve it, and it's going to be great. So that's the official talk, so we'll take questions.
Yeah, we're here. That's great. I think when you said it was going to be great, I was thinking about how great it was going to be, and I wasn't clicking on my. But hey, one of the things you mentioned and caught my attention was this whole idea of agile, and it's one of the things that's near and dear to my heart. And I hear a lot of people talk about it, but you guys seem to have really kind of built that into your mindset. And so when you talk about your taking advantage of opportunities, and when I hear that you took advantage of this in 2 weeks with the the COVID opportunity and working Cinchy, I believe there's got to be some sort of a story there about how you were able to just so quickly kind of spin up a team and solve that problem. So if you can maybe just talk a little bit about that.
Well, what's interesting why that's been so successful is I wasn't looking to do it. Cinchy came to us. The guy who leads our relationship said, "We have what you might need. Would you like to have a conversation about it?" And we had a conversation about it, and I said, "Yeah, let's go there." And we went there, and we didn't have to hire any staff, okay? Because basically that platform that came to us was nearly ready, and all we had to do is connect the plugs to get the right amperage and current flowing, so to speak, and it went live in 2 weeks. And so we had quite a great outcome because we were then getting other credit unions and centrals in the system calling us saying, "You solved that? We're dealing with spreadsheets and we're dealing with junk." And so we just had people coming to join us, relationships we didn't have before joining us. And so now we have 80 people on credit unions and centrals on the platform. And we didn't market, we just did a good job.
Wow, that's a great story.
So you mentioned that it's come by word of mouth and feedback from other credit unions where they've heard Concentra is doing this. You need to hop on board. Are there things you're going to do for existing clients that you're going to use this platform for?
Yeah, so we actually launched a new foreign exchange module from a company called Tick Trade, another partner, and that is providing foreign exchange services to the credit union system in Canada. And why we like that is because it allows us to price more competitively than the former system we had. So we swapped that out and put this in with another fintech. And we also are working on what we call a credit union platform strategy. So what do credit unions need? And maybe we can make an investment in technology so that everybody benefits from that investment in technology. And so that's where we're headed with the credit union platform strategy, is more services. I looked at a fraud solution. I didn't think we could do it. I looked at credit rating systems to do. Didn't think we could do it. So I'm scanning for things that would be really valuable for the credit unions, but that we can just plug and play onto our platform. And so that's kind of the thing we're talking about doing.
I'd like to ask a question of you, Neil, about about Cinchy. I know that the last three presenters that we had talked about three different solutions, and it's kind of good to hear some of the similar information about each one. And so I'm just curious how long you've worked with Cinchy. Sorry if you mentioned it and I just missed it, but and then what led you to them, kind of the evaluation process, and how that partnership has evolved.
Yeah, I knew about Cinchy from my independent consulting days, and I just maintain a relationship with them as a firm. We worked with them since 2019, for sure. I had known about them since maybe 2017, 2018. They had won FinTech of the Year, I think. I can't quite recall, but it was they're doing good things in the marketplace. And so I just paid attention to it because I thought it was a good thing to do. I also, when I went and looked at what we were doing from a data warehousing perspective, it was difficult to fathom exactly how quickly that would come and how quickly that would be ready and how much money we were going to have to spend. And I just saw a shortcut. And so I thought if I went with a hackathon and proved it to people, we could have a shortcut. And I took the shortcut, and it turned out to be great.
Okay, so that was the hackathon reference then.
Yeah, so we had a hackathon in 2019. We were working on some regulatory reporting. It apparently took the team 16 or 20 hours to do this work. And when we connected up the data the way that we connected it up on Cinchy in the hackathon, it took under 2 hours to get all the data together and reports prepared. So we went from 16 or 18 hours down to 2.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
0 to 60. Great.
Well, the other thing, context on us is I did a survey of end user computing when I joined. And we had 350 people. We had over 300 spreadsheets of consequence in the organization, which is not sustainable.
Yeah.
So I've been on the bandwagon to get our data in the same place and get rid of spreadsheets and get more industrial strength to build the platform, and that's what we've been doing.
Super. Glad we asked.
So has there been an improvement in your data quality by getting this out of spreadsheets and into the Cinchy platform?
The one thing that does happen is I actually sleep better at night because I know someone's not going to fat finger some liquidity report that goes to OSFI or a regulator or something like that. But yeah, there's been a lot of cleanup. So we actually automated what we call a RIF, a request input form to feed data issues to us. And so we're getting RIFs in, and then we're closing RIFs. So the data quality is starting to trend up, and as issues come, we fix them. And in the OM board work that we did, because we had to actually show these things on Power BI and show visualizations and show trend analysis and show patterns, people started to notice stuff. And so underneath the covers, I'm sure I'm not aware of, like hundreds of data fixes and quality that happened when people looked at what they had in their spreadsheet, looked at the real data and said, oh, I got a problem here. And they fixed it quietly. I didn't even know about it.
So tell us a little bit more about this hackathon, if you can. Who sponsors it? And
yeah. Okay, so remember, one of our 3 core competencies is innovation. So every year, Concentra has a hackathon. We have it internally. Next year, we're contemplating having like an outside, a real hackathon. But inside, it's to get staff to think differently. And they come and present ideas to the executive leadership team. And then we have like a Dragon's Den type of thing where we take each idea and vote on each idea, and then some of them get funded and some of them don't. And then we execute. So we've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years.
Cool. Yeah, I think things like that spur innovation so well. It gets people thinking in a different way and kind of unhooks some of the creativity that you're looking to really foster.
Yeah, so we have a lot of people self-serving themselves right now. Like I don't even know the half of what's going on underneath the covers. People are, they're going to a third of our organization is using Cinchy.
Oh, that's cool.
So do you have any plans on how to get additional staff and different employees engaged on that platform?
No, I think I'm not trying to push it. Like there's staff that would not have any reason to be on Cinchy, right? And so a third is a lot. Like think of a third of your staff, 115 or so people who do work in risk, finance, ops, and tech on a platform. Not a lot of my customer care or my transaction processing systems actually need to see that data. So I think that's probably the plateau. I'm not expecting to go higher than that. What I'm trying to get now is more use of the OM boards where everybody just goes to we have a SharePoint site with the OM boards all around and just have people, that's the reference source they go to. We're using it as an ELT. We're now starting to get other groups subscribing to the OM boards and getting more use of the visualizations and the Power BI tools that we have. So that's pretty neat.
That's great.
I wanted to go back to Cinchy a little bit. We don't encourage our partners. Cinchy's a great partner. We don't encourage our partners to do their own sales pitches. But if I were to ask you, what's the commercial for Cinchy, in a minute or less, what would you say?
So if you get into a situation where you actually need tools to do work on data, the concept of Dataware and the concept of making it easy for people to use those tools is what Cinchy is all about. So making data available to the citizens, not the technicians, right? And so if I characterize it, a third of our people using Cinchy is way more than historical use of any other repository in the place because it's easy to use. One of the features I do like about it is you can, and it's an old term, but and Dan will probably say I said it wrong, but I can mash up data.
Mm-hmm.
I can bring data from various sources and see various views, and I can connect it. And then in the Cinchy Dataware, it stays connected. So you actually don't have to go back and revisit that every month. You can say that's the way it's meant to be. And you can add fields and extend fields and get things better extended to make it more useful and have more utility. So I just think having a tool that is more user-friendly and available to citizens for self-serve is the way to go.
Awesome. I think they probably couldn't have said that any better.
We'll see what Dan says after the meeting.
So for you moving forward, you've got your plans and other opportunities you're looking at. Do you expect that using great partnership with Cinchy, you'll be able to roll things out as quickly as you have? Do you think that's the new standard for your organization?
Yeah, so we set up an agile team all around data, and we set up an agile team that we called a data and analytics COE. And so while we have other agile teams and they're dealing with data issues in those agile teams, we have a team that's strictly focused on everything else that is not an agile team. So we have a Reso retail mortgage agile team, we have a deposits agile team, and we have a commercial banking agile team, for give you an example. But we have data for risk that doesn't have a home, right? So we set up this data analytics COE, and I got the CFO, COO, me, and the head of finance, finance, risk, and ops and tech executives sitting in that agile team, not regularly, like when they do the sprint planning, to set the relative priorities of what we're going to fix in what sequence. Okay, because what happened before is if you didn't have this central clearinghouse and you didn't have the RIF forms, and you didn't have all this stuff to govern what you're doing, he who screamed the loudest got his data problem solved, right? And so I was tired of some guy getting ahead of my pet project because I'm the guy, and I basically wanted to make sure that I could control the sequence in order of strategic priority, the data that we were fixing and the sequence of that fix, right? So we're tying our data program right to our strategy. So your answer to your question, Kathy, it was a long answer, is we're very much focused on the client, very much focused on enabling employees, and very much focused on partners. So I'm trying to relate the data agenda to our strategy agenda, right? And make sure it stays focused on it. And so that determines the program of work.
That's a great foundational structure to move ahead with that, right? Is that you're now doing it with the strategy, and it's not, like you said, the squeaky wheel isn't getting the grease. It's
I use the phrase, put your money where your strategy is. And so if we don't put our money where our strategy is, we're going to fail, right? So if we can't link what we're doing dollars and cents wise to the execution of strategy, we shouldn't fund that initiative, whatever it is.
Well, you know, it's a very practical way of solving that particular problem. And I think lends itself very well to the power of Agile, that you know, you can be very transparent about how you're setting priorities and very iterative in the way you reset them. So, I mean, I think that in part is one of the reasons you seem to be so successful with that.
The trick as well with Agile teams is have the management and leadership get out of the way and just let the team execute. Right?
Well, self-directed,
If the team has the right
team.
backlog and they're right on strategy,
Yeah.
know what they can do. They just let them do it. Don't peek into the team and get in the way. Just let them go. Get it done.
Awesome. So, you know, what looms out there as the next big challenge or a thing that you might be concerned about that, well, you already said you slept well at night, so I don't know.
I sleep better. We're still working on client data, of course, right? And so as we launch our digital bank, we're going to want to do what you would call digital marketing, and we're going to want to measure discretely the client experiences. So connecting our Salesforce funnel into our digital banking platform, into our digital marketing, into our attrition rates and success rates and payback on ads. That's the next thing we're working on, is actually tying it into the CRM platform to make sure, you know, we have 100 people come in and we only close 2. That's not so good. We need to get 100 people in and close 50, you know. So is our marketing working, targeted well? Is our close rate targeting well? Are we delivering the right client experience? All those metrics of the true client experience tied to the marketing budget and spend that we're spending. Like
do you have in your digital marketing space, do you have a focus on the customer journey?
Yeah, we do. So we did a whole bunch of journey design, and we did a whole bunch of journey metrics, and we actually invested in some software to measure that and be able to survey our customers regularly to track like Net Promoter Score and stuff like that, like you would expect us to do. So we're trying to be a true digital bank, you know, measure what people are doing on our platform and see what we can do.
Well, it does seem like you're walking the walk and, you know, taking a very kind of systematic approach to it. Love the way you're using Agile. I think this must be one of the accounts that Cinchy is very proud of. And
we'll see if I got the Dataware question right. So then
yeah, I'm sure you'll be corrected later on that. But on behalf of Kathy and I, we really appreciate you joining us today at the Solution Showcase. And this is just a great case study. And so thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.